Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Indie Pop Girl, the podcast for music chat, new releases, hidden gems, and nostalgic deep dives. I am back and it's time to deliver my favourite music of the year. This week I'll be taking you through my top 10 songs of 2025. These are the songs that I simply couldn't get enough of throughout the year, and the ones which had the most emotional impact for me. My albums of the year will be coming very soon, so stay tuned for that. I hope you're all having a lovely December so far. It's been very interesting reading all of the best of 2025 lists with the publications and music reactors on YouTube. It's been such an incredible year for music, and narrowing it down just to 10 songs was honestly so tough. I've gone back and forth so many times, but I think I've finally landed on a list that feels right. These are the songs that I have constantly played throughout the year, and the ones which had the most emotional impact. I'm so excited to share my favourites with you. Some of these songs I've already talked about in previous episodes, and some I haven't even mentioned at all, especially if they were released before I started my podcast. It's been a huge challenge, but a fun one at the same time. There will be a playlist available after this episode drops with all of the tracks included, so I hope you check it out and hopefully you'll find something new to enjoy. Just to set some quick rules for my top 10. All the songs are from albums that was released during 2025. They can be singles or album tracks, and I've limited it to one song per artist to keep things interesting. That said, some familiar names might sneak back in during my honourable mentions. I would say there is no particular order to the list, but as I work my way up to the top, there might be a loose ranking ever so slightly. So, grab your favourite drink and snack, settle in, and I hope you enjoy the songs that I have chosen and why they have made my list. As I've mentioned in previous episodes, I will not be playing clips of the songs, so if you are curious then please support the artists I cover by streaming, downloading or buying physical copies. Thank you. Before I dive into my top 10, just a little disclaimer. Please don't be offended if your favourite songs aren't in my list. There was so much music released over the year, and it's difficult keeping up with everything. That being said, there is still some songs and albums that are still on my list that I haven't even got round to yet, and will most definitely roll over into 2026. So please don't get upset. This is just a bit of fun at the end of the year, and it's nothing personal at all, and at the end of the day, it's nothing serious, and everyone's list is going to be different. But it would be so awesome to hear from my listeners, and I would love to find out what you have been listening to this year. So please let me know what your favourite songs are, and who knows, I might find a new discovery along the way. So we're going to start with number 10, Drums of Death by FKA Twigs. You know, it's hard to believe that the Eusexia record dropped back in January, and way before I even started my podcast. Even though this track was released towards the end of 2024, Eusexia is from 2025, and I held off from listening to the singles until that record dropped. Drums of Death is the track that instantly stood out to me on my first listen. The breathtaking production and its weirdness is something that I gravitate towards. I love the confidence from Twigs in this track. She encourages the listener to live your life in your way. not to be afraid to simply have fun, and in her words, fuck who you want, baby girl, do it just for fun. It's that sexual liberation to be free and to be spontaneous, but it's also about letting go on the dance floor and shaking off the everyday stresses of life. The drums certainly do go hard, and the title of the song is so spot on. I love how Twigs doesn't hold back. The choppy production, the chorus turns glitchy with her vocals chopped and the harsh electronic drums, but they never fully take over. The vocals from Twigs still have space to breathe, and any track which ends with the lines "Crash the system, diva doll, serve cunt, serve violence" is already iconic in my eyes. That is what Twigs delivers and serves with Drums of Death, and this track felt like a breath of fresh air in the dark, dreary month of January. So we're going to move on to number 9, Plastic Box by Jade. I will be honest, I'm really late to the party with the debut from Jade. I was aware with Angel of My Dreams, which blew me away, and it's just a perfect pop song in my eyes. But since putting this list together, I finally got round to listening to Jade's record, and I've changed my mind on which track to include in this list, and Plastic Box instantly grabbed me. I love the slick, polished synth pop production, and songs like this are right up my street. I recently purchased the Amazon exclusive of Jade's record, and it sounds wonderful on vinyl. I was such a fool in the delay of listening to this, but I am happy to report that I am fully on board the Jade train now, and I can see why people are including this song and record in their lists. Of course, Jade's vocals are absolutely flawless, and the production reminded me of Robyn and Lady Gaga. That pulsing synth pop is just irresistible, and Jade really is becoming a versatile artist, and I can't wait to see what she does next. Number 8 is Aquamarine by Addison Rae. Okay guys, now, I know this track was released in 2024, but Addison's debut record dropped this year, and I was playing the fuck out of this song all year long. It especially hit during the summer months, and a song like this is perfect for those summer days and driving with the windows down. I talked about this song in my June recap episode when I reviewed the Addison record and confirmed that Aquamarine is one of my favourites from the album, and all these months later I still feel the same way about it. I just love the electronic dreamy production, and it's just so colourful, and you can picture the colour of aquamarine in the song. I adore Addison's breathy vocal textures, and it is so gorgeous, hypnotic and uplifting. I mentioned in the previous podcast episode that I wish that the track was longer, and I still feel the same. This song is begging for an extended version, and I would love it if she released extended cuts similar to Dua Lipa's Radical Optimism. Song number 7 is Fuck Me Eyes by Ethel Cain. The second single from the Willoughby Tucker record, which I have reviewed on the podcast back in August, so I won't go into too much detail here, but do check out the Willoughby Tucker episode if you'd like to hear more. Ethel confirmed that she took inspiration and is a homage to Betty Davis Eyes by Kim Carnes, which was released back in 1981. I mentioned in my album review that this track is a pop banger, and I love the use of synths in the track. Fuck Me Eyes is straight up synth pop and has that classic pop sound soaked in nostalgia. I adore Ethel's vocal performance on this track as she switches from a soft tone and delivery and then she builds into a passionate vocal when the synths build and blow the track wide open, and it is breathtaking. Song number 6 is The Subway by Chappell Roan. I will be honest, I wasn't completely sold when The Giver dropped. I was slightly disappointed in the country pop sound in that track, so I was eagerly waiting for the follow-up from Chappell. The Subway does not disappoint. I have seen people comparing it to the work of the Cranberries, but for me, I instantly thought of Tori Amos. Chappell's vocal performance, especially in the chorus with the line, "It's just another day and it's not over," just gave me strong Tori vibes in the way Chappell delivers this line. Her tone and cadence just made me think of early Tori, and I hope you guys know what I mean here. The Subway features some of Chappell's best lyrics. She really does shine when she's going through the heartbreak. Her vocal performance is truly out of this world, and I'd love to hear Chappell explore this indie, dreamy sound further with her next project. Like Jade, Chappell is another versatile artist, and we are all waiting so patiently for album number 2. Song number 5 is Anybody Out There by Ali X. No list is complete without Ali X, who was my most played artist on my Spotify Wrap this year. Ali recently dropped her latest record, Happiness Is Going to Get You, in November, and I had already heard this track during her Weird World tour back in July when I saw her live for the very first time. I know that nothing will ever top her Girl With No Face era. That is just so untouchable and iconic. But this track still brings the synths and electronics in the production. It's so catchy, and I just love the motherfucker refrain that is repeated in the track. It really gets under your skin, and I always enjoy Ali's vocal performances, and this track is no exception. Her record really didn't get the love it truly deserves, but it clicked for me, and now that I have sat with it for a few weeks, it's a strong, solid release from Ali, and this track sets up the album perfectly as track number 1. So we're into the top 4 now, and next I've picked Clear Blue by Lorde. It was really difficult choosing a track from the Virgin record, but in the end I went with the one that absolutely floored me on the first listen. I know this might be an unpopular opinion, but Clear Blue is something that I was not expecting or prepared for. I will always remember playing the vinyl on release day and hearing this for the first time. What an experience, and what an artistic statement from Lorde. She does not hold back lyrically at all, and her lyrics and her voice, backed with a vocoder, take centre stage. The sparse production is intentional. Lorde is blunt and direct with her lyrics, and she wants you to hear every word, regardless if you're feeling uncomfortable. The fact that Lorde packs in so much into this short track is quite remarkable. I will never forget her Glastonbury secret set from back in the summer. I was captivated watching her performing this. I will never forget the look on her face and the emotion in her eyes, and it got me so choked up. I live for moments like that, and it kind of sealed the deal for me choosing Clear Blue in my list. When I hear it now, all these months later, it still has the same power that gets me in a chokehold. I totally respect Lorde's brutal confession and honesty, and I just want to say that the Virgin episode is one that I am most proud of. It was such a challenge and to pick apart and critique in such a short space of time, but a rewarding one. I know this track won't be for everyone, but you can't help but to sit and take notice. And I respect Lorde so much for including this on her record. So we're into the top 3, and the next track that sits at number 3 is Pretend You're God by Miley Cyrus. So I went back to my Miley review on my very first podcast episode because honestly I couldn't remember what I said about this track. I'm happy to report that my feelings have not changed, but my love for this track has just grown and grown over the months. I did mention in my review that Walk of Fame and Every Girl You've Ever Loved were possible SOTY contenders, and that is still the case. But the whole record completely blew me away, and the songs have just got stronger and stronger the more I have sat with this record. Pretend You're God has risen to the top of the pack for me. There is just something so captivating, so haunting within the production. Miley's vocal performance, the lyrics and the instrumental, and the way the track is constructed is so addictive but unique at the same time. There isn't really another track from the year that I can even compare this to. Like I said, it is just so unique, and that's why it stands out so much. I mentioned in my review that bass guard Pino Palladino features on this track, and you can hear his stamp all over it. His bass run during the song is just disgusting in the best way. And I need to talk about the drums. The drums. Fucking hell, guys. I didn't even mention this in my review, but this track is all about the drums. The way how the drums kick back in after the dreamy bridge is probably one of my favourite parts to a track this year. It's just something so unexpected in a pop track, and the trip hop feel to it overall is something that I feel Miley should definitely explore more. She makes a complex song like this feel so natural and effortless. And now that I have sat with this track since May, I have been able to really dissect and pick things up that I hadn't noticed before. I also mentioned in my review that Adam Grandiseel from my favourite band, The War on Drugs, features on guitar on this track. His recognisable guitar textures never fully take over, but you know he's there. And the way Miley mimics his guitar melody with her vocals just blows my fucking mind. What a record, and what a song. So my number 2 song of the year is Play It Out by Wolf Alice. This was extremely hard choosing a track off the clearing. I was going back and forth for so long, trying to decide on the one to pick for this list, but my mind was made up for me at the beginning of the month seeing Wolf Alice live in Leeds. They performed this track and Ellie sounded beautiful. I talked about in my review of The Clearing that the message of this track kind of hit home for me. I relate totally to what Ellie is describing, and the end result is just absolutely stunning. From the piano melody, Ellie's touching vocal performance, and her delivery of the lyrics is just breathtaking. Yes, they can go hard, but they can also deliver something so touching like this. I wasn't expecting to be moved so much in this way, and hearing it live just got me totally choked up and emotional. A song which moves me emotionally like this has to feature in my list. It's sublime, powerful, emotional, and beautiful. And even though it leaves me quite drained at times, I still can't get enough of it. Wolf Alice is truly at the top of their game right now, and I will say it again, they are the best British band out there for me. The level of their songwriting and performance is just next level, and Ellie has never sounded better. What a woman! I am truly in awe how special she is, and as a fan, so proud of her confidence and how much she has grown as a front woman. I know The Sofa is a fan favourite, and I do love that song. And I know that song will already be included in so many lists for people. And I went with the one with the most emotional impact for me. The Clearing is such a special record for me this year, and Play It Out is such a special song. It touched my heart, and I will never forget that first listen on vinyl on release day. Moments like that I will cherish forever. And it's why I am so passionate about music in the first place. And I am so grateful that I can share my love for songs like this. So guys, it's time for the number one. My favourite song of the year, and it wasn't really a hard decision. So my number one, my top song of 2025 is If Only I Could Wait by Bon Iver featuring Danielle Haim. Oh boy. Talking about emotional impact and special songs and records, here we are with this emotional gut punch of a song. Like I said, placing this at number one was honestly a no-brainer. If you've listened to my Sable Fable review, then you know that I cried at one point during the episode. I recorded that episode during a very difficult rough patch during the year, and I found this record at the right time. The emotion just poured out during the episode, and I always knew that this song would end up at the top of the pack for me. From the gorgeous production and instrumental, it was the vocal performances from Justin and especially Danielle that sealed the deal. Danielle has never sounded better in my opinion. Her smooth delivery just hit me right in the chest, and I felt every word, every drop of pure emotion. And this is what songs are all about for me. This track just spoke to me right from the get-go. There was no waiting around in the hope that it would click or trying to find something to like during repeated listens. No, it leapt out right from the get-go and it had me in a chokehold. There is something about that acoustic guitar over the electronic production that just gets me every time. This song is the one that gave me the most comfort during the year and was there for me when I needed it the most. If you've heard this track, then I hope you can relate to what I'm describing. But if you haven't, I urge you to give this track a spin, and I hope you find the comfort and hope in the same way I did. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Danielle, for creating a gorgeous masterpiece of a song which will always hold a special place in my heart from now on. So that is a wrap. That is my top 10 songs of 2025. But before I end the episode, I just want to give you guys some honourable mentions. These are songs which I discovered, which I played throughout the year, which I also love. And I'm not going to go into loads of detail here with these, but the fact that I am mentioning them is enough. So the first one is 12 to 12 by Samba. I'm sure a lot of you have heard this track on the radio and it just grabbed me straight away. I adore the production. It's just a great uplifting song. Next is From by Bon Iver, another gorgeous track from the Sable Fable album. I very nearly did put this in my list, but I went with my top one. From is another one that I truly love, and yeah, if you've not heard this, I urge you to check it out. Next is House Tour by Sabrina Carpenter. Looking back on my review of Man's Best Friend, I was probably a little bit harsh, but House Tour was a song that I kept coming back to. I just loved the vibe and the cheeky lyrics and her vocal performance. It's just a fun, catchy track. Next is Wolf Alice again, and I've got a bit of a three-way tie here. So I've picked Thorns, Midnight Song and Bloom Baby Bloom, all from The Clearing. It was really difficult trying to choose one over the other here, but I've put all three in my honourable mentions, and they are all amazing, and they all could have made the top 10, but I've put them here as they all deserve a mention. Next is As Alive As You Need Me To Be from Nine Inch Nails, from the Tron Ares soundtrack. Just a great solid track. I loved it right from the get-go, and if you've not heard this and you love Nine Inch Nails or electro synth pop with a bit of a dark edge, I do recommend this track. Next is Summer Forever by Addison Rae. Another gorgeous song from the album. I adore this track. It got me through the summer, and it will probably get me through the winter as well. Next is Something Beautiful, the title track by Miley Cyrus. Again, it was difficult trying to pick another song to go in this list, but I went with the title track as it's probably the most unexpected and the most experimental of all the songs on the record. Just absolutely amazing. That switch up is one of my favourite moments of the year. Just amazing, and I can't believe that not enough people are giving this album enough love or talking about it, because it is a pop masterpiece. Next track is Sisyphus from Garbage. This was the track that stood out to me on the recent release. Just a gorgeous piece of dream pop with some gorgeous vocals from Shirley. Next might be a bit of a surprise to you guys, but I've picked Sports Car by Tate McRae. Again, it's just a brilliant, catchy song, reminiscent of the Pussycat Dolls, but I'm here for it. I just couldn't get enough of this song. I just absolutely love it. Next is The Abyss by The Weeknd featuring Lana. An underrated song from the Hurry Up Tomorrow album. This is just amazing. I love anything that The Weeknd and Lana do together. It just sounds wonderful, and Lana, her vocals are just amazing. Next, If She Could See Me Now by Lorde. Again, it was really difficult choosing another track from the Virgin record, but I went with this one as I really love the combination of the acoustic guitar with the electronic elements, and Lorde's vocal performance is just wonderful. My only negative, and I did mention this in the Virgin episode, that this track is too short. She needs to give us a longer version because the track deserves it to be longer. Next is Man I Need by Olivia Dean. I don't really need to say any more about this track. I think a lot of people have already heard this on the radio, and a lot of people have been talking about her record from this year. Just a lovely, lovely song. Next is Pokemon by Wet Leg from the Moisturiser album that dropped this year. I've heard this quite a lot on Radio X at work, and it just really grew on me. It's very different from Wet Leg. I really hope that they kind of go in this style in the future, because it really does suit them, and it's just a lovely, catchy song. And my last honourable mention is First Last Dance by Joy Crookes, taken from her Juniper record from this year. I picked this one because it was very, very different from Joy, a very upbeat kind of disco song. And if you've not heard of Joy Crookes or not listened to her before, I really do recommend. She's got an amazing voice, very smooth, very sophisticated. But I chose this one as a highlight from the Juniper record. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Please follow me on Instagram, Facebook and Threads at The Indie Pop Girl. If you've enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you could follow and share, as it helps other music lovers to find the show. I am also on YouTube. You can find me at The Indie Pop Girl Podcast, and I'd be grateful if you could like and subscribe, as I'm creating content, shorts and posting teasers for upcoming episodes. You can also find me on TikTok at The Indie Pop Girl Podcast if you want to give me a follow over there. There is also a Spotify playlist available, and I've added all of my favourite tracks mentioned in this episode, including the honourable mentions, and you can find this on Spotify at The Indie Pop Girl, and the playlist is called Songs of 2025. I'll be back very soon with my top 10 albums of the year. I'll be taking you through the albums that got me through the year, my most played, and the ones that had the biggest emotional impact for me. I just want to take this time to wish all of my listeners a very happy Christmas and holiday season. I hope you have a wonderful time with your family and friends, and I'll be back very soon. Until then, I'm Rachel, the Indie Pop Girl. Thanks for listening. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.